the day my wife's first love returned to China. She purposely arranged a welcome party, but deliberately excluded me. It was only half a day before my bank card was maxed out. I intended to find her to ask for clarification, but was taunted for being chauvinistic and patronizing. Those squads of hers also publicly humiliated me, saying that I moochers still don't know enough. In the midst of the chaos, Emily threw a bottle of wine at me and smashed my head. Before her consciousness blurred, she looked at me condescendingly and lowered her voice in disgust. "Hurry up and go to hell, Kevin. Do you think I really like you? The person I really love is Xiaoran. If it wasn't for the fact that you have a bit of money, I would have told you to get lost." With endless anger, I just broke off. Waking up again, I went back to the day my wife gave my first love a welcome party. Chengza, I have a meeting today, so I won't be with you for the anniversary. Looking at the message sent by Emily, I smiled slightly and directly stopped all credit lines under her name. I know that Emily is throwing away money for her first love Xiaoran. Emily relies on swiping the credit lines given by me to package herself as an independent woman with a successful career outside. But only I know that she is not a businesswoman at all. She is not capable, and she doesn't even have any decent work experience. After marriage, she said she didn't want to be a free babysitter and had to go out to make a name for herself. I quietly arranged for her to join the subsidiary and gave her a VP position. Otherwise no one would have wanted her. I love Emily, so I didn't point out her lies, and have been quietly cooperating with her performance. But I didn't expect that what I got in return was her betrayal. In her heart, she has always loved her first love Xiaoran, and even took my money to please others. In that case, why should I continue to indulge her? Looking at the message from the bank, it shows that the cards have all been deactivated. A cold smile appeared at the corner of my mouth as I got up and prepared to head to the party location. In my last life, after realizing that my card had been maxed out, I foolishly trusted Emily and kept lying to myself that something might have happened to my wife. As a result, when I arrived at the location of the spending record, as soon as I opened the door, I saw my wife and a man in a passionate kiss. Everyone around was up in arms and applauding. I was shaking with anger and rushed over to confront Emily, but she publicly humiliated me, calling me incompetent and saying that I was a loser who could only rely on my wife to support me. But still had the nerve to clamor. Her squads were accusing me and even pushing and abusing me. In the midst of the chaos, I saw Emily throw out the heavy bottle and hit me hard on the head. I ended up bleeding to death. Because no one cared and no one saw it, it was finally ruled an accident. At that moment, I realized that Emily, whom I loved dearly, had always wanted me dead. Now I really wanted to see how embarrassed she would be in the crowd when the bank card couldn't be swiped. On the way, I called the club manager. Emily does not know. She carefully selected the party club. Is my property. Driving all the way to the club, just as I parked my car, my cell phone rang. Kevin, how come this card won't swipe? On the phone, Emily's voice carried anxiety and dissatisfaction. What the hell are you up to? You can't even do the small thing of giving a card. I'm buying dinner today. How can I pay the bill without money? You hurry up and transfer the money to me. I listened to Emily's bossy tone on the phone and smiled coldly. Emily, you yourself have to spend money to fill up your face. Why do you want me to clean up your mess? My words just fell. Emily on the other end of the phone immediately choked. Seems to completely did not expect me to say such words. After a moment of silence, Emily angrily said, Kevin, what kind of little temper are you playing? I'm your wife. What's wrong with using some of your money? Are you still a man? If your attitude is like this again, do you believe I will divorce you right away? I listened to Emily's exasperated voice on the phone and said faintly, Fine. Go to the courthouse today. Are you serious? Emily seemed unable to believe her ears and froze in place. In the past, whenever she was slightly displeased, I would fulfill all of her requests just so she could take the edge off. She knew I loved her like crazy and couldn't stay away from her. That's why she dared to be so reckless. But now, with my resolute attitude and icy tone, I made her feel an unprecedented panic for a moment. Of course it's serious. It's not just a divorce. My tone was indifferent, without a trace of emotion. Emily, between us, it really should have been over a long time ago. Kevin, what do you really want? At this moment, Emily's voice finally took on a hint of panic, shouting at me, "What do you mean it's over? You make it clear, Kevin. I'm telling you, don't you dare try to threaten me in this way. If you don't obediently come over and pay, we're really done." I listened to Emily's colorful persecution. My heart was cold. Emily, there's no need to say so much nonsense. We're really over. After saying these words, I directly hung up the phone, then got up and walked towards the club. Just as I walked into the lobby, the manager who had been waiting for a long time immediately greeted me. He respectfully brought me next door to Emily's box and showed me the surveillance of their box. At that moment, Emily's squads were sitting around, each with a bit of impatience on their faces. "Emmy, why are you still gawking? Why don't you hurry up and check out? Yeah, didn't you say there's a yacht party in the back? Hurry up and pay to get high." "That's right. Miss Tang, can you hurry up? We can't wait." Many people had already started to urge Emily. After all, from the time she said she wanted to check out, nearly 20 minutes had passed. A trace of embarrassment flashed across Emily's face. She barely managed to squeeze out a smile and said, "Oops, I'm really sorry. I seem to have left my card at home. I can't pay for a moment. I've already asked Chingza to send it to me, so everyone can wait for a little while longer." After saying these words, she quickly picked up her cell phone, pretending to drop a sentence. "We all know Chang's nature. He is unreliable. I'll go and rush him again." She immediately ran outside the box to make a call. Sure enough, my cell phone rang again, and the name Emily popped up on the screen. I sneered and picked up the phone. "Kevin, what do you want? Do you have to push me to the brink before you're satisfied?" On the phone, Emily's voice carried obvious anger and pleading. "One day husband and wife, don't go too far in what you do." Listening to Emily's anxious voice on the phone, I asked in mock surprise, "Emily, wasn't it you who said you wanted to divorce me? What? Now you're talking about conjugal favor?" "Chungza, listen to my explanation. Just now I was joking with you. Don't take it seriously. How could I really divorce you? You're my favorite husband." On the phone, Emily immediately changed her tone and started to pamper me, desperately trying to redeem herself. She was very anxious now, afraid that I really didn't care about her, and her tone became extraordinarily flattering. "Chingze, please, quickly come over and help me settle the bill. I'll wait for you at the door." "No need. You'd better accompany your first love," I said in an icy tone. "Since you only have him in your heart, just stay with him. I wish you 100 years of happiness." On the other end of the phone, Emily instantly screamed in panic. "Kevin, how did you know that Xiao Ran is here too? Did you send someone to follow me?" "Kevin, don't think too much. Xiao Ran and I are just ordinary friends. Don't misunderstand," she eagerly defended. "Since we're just ordinary friends, it's fine to let him pay for his own welcome party. I believe that with his ability, treating everyone to a meal shouldn't be a problem, right?" After saying this, I directly hung up, not giving her any chance to explain. 3 At this time, Emily was completely anxious. She was like an ant on a hot pan, walking around outside the box anxiously, and kept dialing my phone number, but they were all ruthlessly rejected by me. Looking at her lousy appearance, I finally got out a mouthful of bad breath in my heart. Emmy, something happened. What took you so long? Seeing Emily's delayed return, Xiaoran finally couldn't help but walk out and asked with fake concern. At this moment, Emily's face had long since lost its previous elegance and composure. She hurriedly grabbed Xiaoran's hand and said pitifully, "Ryan, things are a bit troublesome. That bastard Kevin, I don't know what kind of nerves he had, transferred all the money from my card, and caused the card to freeze, so I can't pay at all." Hearing Emily say this, Xiaoran's face immediately showed an expression of righteous indignation. He pretended to be concerned and said, "Emmy, this is too much. How could he do this to you? It's obviously because he relies on you to live a good life. Don't worry. Leave this matter to me. I'll call Kevin right now and ask him to transfer the money back to you immediately. Otherwise I'll never let him go." With that, Xiaoran aggressively dialed my number. "Kevin, what the hell do you want? By what right did you arbitrarily transfer Emmy's money? I know you mind in your heart that I was Emmy's first love, but we at least were classmates in college. Don't you know what kind of relationship she and I have now? Hurry up and transfer the money back. Let me tell you, transferring someone else's money privately without consent, even if you are married, this is still considered stealing." Xiaoran's bluffing and shouting came from the other end of the phone. I felt both ridiculous and pathetic as I listened to his nonsense. I deliberately pretended to be ignorant and asked back, "I transferred her money. What are you talking about? How come I don't know? Kevin, don't you dare pretend to me. You're just jealous of Emmy celebrating my return to the country. That's why you're purposely making trouble out of it, trying to ruin our relationship. I'm warning you. Send the money back immediately or it'll be rude to you." Xiaoran on the other end of the phone yelled furiously. I couldn't help but laugh out loud as I listened to Xiaoran's childish threats. I sneered back. "Since it's your birthday, why do you want Emily to pay for it? Are you such an elite returnee that you can't even afford a meal? It's not possible that you are a poor man with an empty face, is it?" My words, like a sharp knife, viciously stabbed Xiaoran's sore spot, making him instantly annoyed. "Kevin, what do you mean? You dare to mock me? This is a surprise that Emmy specially prepared for me. So who are you to talk nonsense here? I think you're the one who's a vain punk. No talent but can only rely on your wife to support you. We've long looked at moochers wimp like you." I wasn't moved in the slightest. My tone remained calm. "I didn't take Emily's money anyway. You let her ask me herself. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up." I knew that Xiaoran had always been jealous of me. He was a sea king back then and dumped Emily after playing with her. He thought Emily made a lot of money from nothing after graduation. But he didn't know that the one who made a fortune from nothing was me. As a result, he was jealous that I got lucky. Obviously he came first, but it was me who married such a trophy wife. That's why he secretly hooked up with Emily again after he left the country, trying to get to the top. He simply does not know that the so-called trophy wife businesswoman in his eyes, in fact, has no money at all, but also just to rely on me to provide support. Vanity strong gold-digging woman. After hanging up the phone, I will leisurely sit in the room, while sipping red wine, while enjoying the good play staged in the surveillance. At this moment, those people in the box had already waited a little impatiently, and one by one began to complain. While outside the box, Xiaoran looked at the anxious Emily in front of him and said heartily, "Emmy, I think Kevin is simply a hooligan. He is clearly trying to embarrass you. Why don't we call the police and let them handle this?" Saying that, he even pretended to caress the back of Emily's hand with his hand, wanting to take advantage of the situation. When I saw this scene, a chill ran through my heart, and I became even more disgusted with these two people. For Emily, however, shook her head and refused Xiaoran's proposal. She knew very well in her heart that if she called the police, once the police intervened in the investigation to find out who the credit line really belonged to. Her socialite persona that she had painstakingly managed for many years would completely collapse, and she would be completely disgraced by then. But if she doesn't call the police, she simply can't solve the predicament in front of her. Emily's face is full of bitterness and helplessness, and I just stood by with cold eyes. There was not a trace of pity in my heart, only pleasure. Ryan, you go back to the box first and help me calm down the gang. Just tell them that I have some urgent matters to deal with temporarily and will be back soon, Emily said with a forced smile. Don't worry. They'll take care of this matter. It might be because I didn't make it clear to Sung Taek in advance beforehand, and he got angry for a while. That's why he got a little bit angry. When I explain it to him properly, he'll transfer the money back soon. After saying these words, she forcefully pushed Xiaoran into the box before she turned around, took a deep breath, tried her best to calm herself down, and took the initiative to call me. Chungza, I was wrong. I know I shouldn't have gone behind your back and thrown Xiaoran a welcome party. Don't worry. The person I love the most in my heart is only you, and the only thing I care about is your feelings. Sung Zae, I'm your wife. I've already promised everyone a treat. You can't let me break my promise and lose face in front of my friends. Right. You know, all my good squads can't wait for me to make a fool of myself. She was pouting into the phone, full of temptation, trying to soften my heart in this way. However, under the monitor, it was clearly visible that although she was trying her best to be cute, her eyes were extraordinarily cold, and even the expression on her face was a bit twisted and full of resentment. Sorry. We are already in a divorced relationship. I have no obligation to help you, I said in an indifferent tone. Emily. If you want to treat me to dinner, then use your own money. Stop hitting me for money, Kevin. Do you have to be so desperate? I already know I'm wrong. What more do you want from me? Emily completely tensed up and growled loudly into the phone. But all that awaited her was my ruthlessness. I ignored her hysteria and asked back lightly. You were the one who said divorce first. I just agreed to your request, and now you regret it. If you had known it would come to this, why would you have done it in the first place? What's more, I'm no longer your husband, so why should I spend money for you? Do you think my Kevin's money comes from the wind? Hanging up the phone, I pulled her into the blacklist without any reservation. Emily was completely dumbfounded. She never expected that I would become so desperate and not give her any chance to redeem herself at all. After all, just this morning, I had been obedient and submissive to her, even going so far as to drive 3 hours for her just to buy her favorite dessert. She had long been used to being held in my hands and pampered by me, thinking that I had been completely taken by her. But it was at this critical moment that I turned away without hesitation, not giving her any face at all. Emmy, how's it going? Did that asshole Kevin transfer the money back? Just as Emily froze, Xiaoran's voice came from behind her. He hurriedly walked out and said to Emily with a difficult face, Emmy, everyone is already a bit annoyed and is urging you to hurry back and settle the bill. Hearing Xiaoran's words, Emily then snapped out of it and realized how bad her current situation was. She had long been used to being courted and envied, enjoying the treatment of the stars. Nowadays, she was even more reluctant to have her hypocritical mask ripped off, much less lose face in front of her squad. Ryan, wait here for a little while. I'll go think of a way to get the money together right away, she said distractedly. Emmy, it's not that I'm talking about you. A man like Kevin doesn't deserve you at all. Not only does he eat and drink from you, he doesn't know how to return the favor. He even steals from you. He's simply a scum, in my opinion. Why don't you just call the police? I know you are kind-hearted and give him face, but he doesn't understand your good intentions. It's better to let the police arrest this asshole and teach him a good lesson. Xiaoran quietly put his hand close to Emily's shoulder and said gently. Upon hearing these words, a A flash of uneasiness flashed across Emily's eyes. She hastily shook her head and refused. Ryan. No. Ching Zhe. He just got angry for a moment and said some angry words. We can't really call the police to arrest him. If it really goes to precinct, things won't be easy to clean up. I'll go and persuade him properly. You can help me explain to them first. Just wait for me for a little while. Okay. With that, Emily was ready to turn around and leave. 5 just at this time. I gave a wink to the club manager behind me. The club manager understood. A professional smile appeared on his face, and immediately opened the door and stepped towards Emily. Ms. Tang, may I ask if you are leaving? Seeing the sudden appearance of the manager, Emily vaguely felt something bad in her heart, and forced herself to calmly say, I forgot my card. I have to go back now to get my card, and I'll be back to settle the bill in a while. Ms. Tang, you have spent millions of dollars on bills in our club. If you leave now, I'm afraid I won't be able to explain to the boss. The manager was still smiling, but his tone became tough. Emily, what happened? Why can't we leave yet? A few friends who had been waiting impatiently for a long time also walked out of the door of the box and asked curiously. Hearing this, Emily's face revealed a trace of an unnatural look. Ms. Tang said she doesn't have the money to settle the bill and is ready to go. The manager deliberately raised his voice and said loudly. He had long since received my authorization. So naturally, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity to dismantle Emily's true colors. Upon hearing this, a group of people swiped their gazes at Emily in unison, their eyes filled with questioning. It's not that Emmy doesn't have the money to settle the bill. It's that Kevin's piece of trash that transferred the money from Emmy's card and caused her card to freeze. That's why she couldn't settle the bill. Seeing this, Xiao Ran, who was on the side, hurriedly stood out and explained for Emily. This Kevin is also too much. How can he do such a thing? That's right. We said long ago that Kevin doesn't deserve Emmy at all, and now it seems to be true. Emily, in my opinion, you'd better listen to our advice and divorce that Kevin. You and Xiao Ran are a perfect match. Only he is good enough for you. My friends were talking, accusing me of being wrong, while not forgetting to flatter Emily and Xiao Ran. I looked at Emily's ironic face, got up, and walked out of the box in big strides. This kind of good drama, I have to join in personally. My appearance instantly attracted everyone's attention. Their eyes were filled with disdain, as if I was an uninvited guest who had ruined their high-class party. And Emily, as if she had seen a lifesaver, eagerly walked towards me, saying in an anxious tone, Kevin, you're finally here. Where's the money? A card will do. Give it to me quickly. When she uttered these words, she didn't forget to desperately give me a wink, implying that I would cooperate with her in acting. And as if I didn't understand her meaning at all, a trace of doubt appeared on my face as I faintly asked back, What money? Why should I pay you back? Speaking as if I took your money. Are you misremembering? Saying that, I deliberately took a step back, pulling away the distance between me and Emily. In my last life, Emily must have saved her mind to want me dead, and by staying away from her, I put in a convenient way to run away. Moreover, I had already arranged bodyguards in secret. Seeing me retreating, they immediately surged out from the crowd, stopping Emily in her place so that she couldn't get close to me. Kevin, stop playing around. I'm serious with you. Now is not the time to play with your temper. Emily was completely flustered and her voice was shaking a little. She had realized that things were completely out of her control. If there was any room for maneuver in the previous exchange, now I've already torn my face off with her in public. However, at this moment, I didn't even look at her, directly ignoring her, turning my head, and saying loudly to everyone, the reason why I appeared here today is because I want to explain one thing. I never took Emily's money. Before. She might have been in a momentary rush. So she said words that defamed me. I hope that everyone won't misunderstand. After I said this, I stopped paying attention to the crowd's reaction and prepared to leave. Xiao Ran looked at me as if nothing had happened, and instantly became anxious. He hurriedly stepped forward and blocked my way. Kevin, stop right there. Do you think you didn't take it just because you said you didn't take it? He looked at me with a grim face and said in a bad tone, Emmy has said that you took the money, so it must be you who took it. You don't have to pretend here. Hurry up and give the money back, or it'll make you look good. I still didn't look squarely at Xiao Ran, ignoring his threat. I turned my head and said to the manager standing by, Manager, since these people can't pay their bills, let's follow the rules and call the police. 6. Although Emily, these squads had a bad attitude towards me, and we weren't exactly familiar. But before, when I was in love, brain on top, I was afraid that Emily would be cheated, but I still deliberately investigated, and I couldn't know their situation better. Most of these people are ordinary families, a little ambitious but not much. I also let Emily and them to socialize. And the meal was worth millions of dollars. The manager just showed me the bill. 7 bottles of top-quality red wine that cost over $100,000 a bottle alone were opened. It was simply extravagant to the extreme. Just this meal, so many people spread down, is not a small amount. The manager didn't say much, immediately signaling the security guards to surround all of this group of people to prevent them from escaping. Those good squads of hers also felt that something was wrong, and they all started to accuse Emily in an attempt to clear the air. Emily's face had become very ugly, and she furiously yelled at me, Kevin, what the hell do you want to do? What you're doing is simply against the law. Do you believe they'll call the police to come and arrest you? I watched Emily's poor performance with great interest. Emily completely broke down and shouted quiet. Emily completely broke down and yelled, quiet. When everyone quieted down, Emily took a deep breath and said to the crowd, Don't worry, I won't make you pay. I'm not short of a few cards. It's just that it's a bit of a hassle to come up with the company's working capital. She then walked around the corner to make a phone call. I knew she wasn't even calling the company's finance, but her parents. It's just that her family is a bottomless pit as well, and it's a good thing they didn't ask her for money, let alone give it. Once upon a time her parents would call every now and then and ask for money for all sorts of reasons. As for Emily's younger brother, he got addicted to gambling at a young age and often gambled online, losing a lot of money and owing a lot of debt. Now Emily's family can't get much money at all, and it's a fool's errand to expect them to come to the rescue. In short, Emily has come to a dead end. I stepped aside, pricked up my ears, and secretly listened to the conversation between Emily and her parents. What do you mean there's no money left? I've sent a lot of money home over the years. Did you guys spend it all? I don't care. You guys have to find a way to lend me the money even if you go borrow it. I need money urgently now. You guys must help me. Emily shouted into the phone, her tone filled with anger and agitation. I couldn't help but smile as I listened. It was pretty much as I expected. Emily's parents were selfish, money-minded snobs. They didn't give a damn about Emily's life or death. It didn't take long for Emily's parents to excuse themselves for various reasons and hang up the phone. At this moment Emily stood frozen in place as if her soul had been taken away. The cell phone in her hand slipped feebly and fell to the ground. Returning to her senses, she saw me standing not far away, looking at her with a cold and mocking gaze, and rushed towards me regardless. Qingzhe, I really know I'm wrong. I've deeply realized that I'm wrong. Just forgive me this time, please. Emily cried like a pear, changing her usual haughty and cold image, and begged bitterly, Qingzhe, as long as you help me settle the bill, I will definitely treat you well in the future. I promise to listen to you in everything in the future, and will definitely not make you angry again. Okay. As she said that, she even wanted to come over and pull my hand. But I had already seen through her true colors, so how could I fall for her trick? I avoided her touch without hesitation and said in an icy tone, "No need, Emily. I don't have any relationship with you anymore for a long time. Your tears and apologies don't mean anything to me. Just don't come back to pester me after the divorce is finalized." After I said this, I stopped paying attention to her. 7. I walked to the door of the box. Xiaoran and the others were still staring at me with hostile gazes. They had obviously been blinded by Emily's lies and treated me as a sinner. Xiaoran looked at me and coldly grunted, saying in a contemptuous tone, "Kevin, you're simply shameless. You even stole your own wife's money. Are you still a man?" I really feel bad for Emily. How could she be so blind to see something like you? I'm too lazy to talk to this kind of brain dead. His brain is really bad. By now, he still can't see that something is wrong. It's really pathetic. Hello, MS. Tang. May I ask when you'll be checking out? Emily staggered over. The manager looked at her and said in a respectful tone. Hearing these words, Emily's face instantly became a few shades of ugly. She still looked at me with a pleading gaze, hoping that I would soften my heart and help her out. Seeing that I was still indifferent and did not have the slightest intention of responding, she finally, completely desperate, gritted her teeth, said in an almost crazy tone, "You want money, right? You want me to pay back the money, right? Fine. You go to him to ask for it. You go to Kevin to ask for it. It's all his fault. It's all his fault for taking my money. I don't even have the money to settle the bill." The manager replied lightly, "MS. Tang, please don't be unreasonable. Since you don't have any money, we'll have to call the police. As for who pays in the end, let the police decide." "No, can't call the police. Absolutely no police." The first one to panic wasn't me, but Emily. Like a cat whose tail was stepped on, she jumped up at once and shouted hoarsely, "Are you crazy? If you call the police, isn't your hotel afraid of people spreading rumors and gossiping? Also, Kevin, why don't you stop me? I'm doing this for your own good. If you really let the police take you away, your future will be completely ruined. Your life will be over." When Emily said these words, there was still a hint of fear and begging in her eyes, hoping that I would let her off for the sake of her pity. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard this. By now, Emily even wanted to continue to put on her persona. It was really ridiculous. "Kevin, you obediently pay the money and settle the bill for me, and this matter will be settled. I can pretend that nothing happened." She looked at me, her tone softened, urgently whispering persuasively. And I just glanced coldly at Emily and said to the manager, "Please, you'd better call the police. I'm sure the police will deal with it impartially and return my innocence." Emily's face changed drastically, and the eyes she looked at me with were no longer pleading, replaced by deep resentment. "Kevin, you have to embarrass me, don't you? Do you have to ruin me before you're satisfied? Do you hate me that much?" Emily gritted her teeth and looked at me as if she wanted to eat me alive. I ignored her. Seeing this, the manager looked down at his watch and said in a cold tone, "MS. Tang, I'll only give you 10 minutes to think about it. Once the 10 minutes are up, if you still can't get the money to settle the bill, I'll have no choice but to call the police." Hearing these words, Emily completely despaired. She turned her head and looked at Xiaoran, who was standing by the side, and seemed to have thought of something, and said with anticipation, "Ryan, my dad's phone hasn't been able to get through. He's probably busy. Can you pay the bill for me tonight first? Your family is so rich. This amount of money must be nothing to you. Don't worry. I will definitely find a way to pay you back tomorrow." When she finished saying this, Xiao Ran's eyes widened and a hint of panic appeared on his face. Xiao Ran's family did not have much money at all. It was just an ordinary well-off family. His own monthly living expenses were stretched to the limit. How could he possibly afford such huge expenses? After my investigation, I also found out that just last month, Xiao Ran had asked for a loan to barely maintain decency. Now Xiao Ran's pockets, cash, I'm afraid, not even $1,000, want him to come up with millions of dollars to settle the bill. It is simply a mirage. 8. Seeing Xiao Ran stammering and unable to say a word in half a day, Emily's heart instantly went cold and completely hit rock bottom. At this moment, she has long regretting that she had eyes but no pearls, abandoning the sincere heart of her obedience, and choosing to float. In the past, I was obedient to her, 1,000 obedience. She always felt that money is something outside the body. It is nothing at all. Now she realizes that without money, she is nothing. Even those friends around her who used to flatter her and curry favor with her have all revealed their true colors. And one by one, they all shunned her. Emily again looked at Squad standing aside, hoping that they could lend a helping hand. Guys, please help me. My dad's phone hasn't been able to get through. He's probably busy, and I really don't have any money right now. As long as you guys are willing to lend me money, they'll definitely find a way to double it back to you guys tomorrow, Emily said eagerly, her tone humble. Those friends of hers heard this. Their faces revealed a look of surprise, glancing at each other, and then at me who always remained silent. If I really took Emily's money, by this time, Emily would definitely choose to force me to take the initiative to stand up. A few sharp-eyed people, whose faces had already begun to turn white, obviously sensed that something was wrong. Emily, who was usually bright and shiny, seemed to be in real trouble today. How about, let's talk to the manager. Can we get a discount? Someone suggested, trying to ease the atmosphere. Right. And Emily, you often come here to eat. You should know the old boss. The manager doesn't have the right to offer a discount. The old boss can surely accommodate. Several people who usually had a good relationship with Emily hastily agreed. However, right at this moment, the club's old president walked into the crowd with a big smile. General Manager Gu, you're here today. Why didn't you let me know in advance, so that I could make arrangements? The old general manager's attitude was respectful to the extreme, even slightly bending over. The entire room was instantly silent, and everyone stared dumbfounded at the scene in front of them. Gu Xiao. They hadn't heard wrong, had they? This Kevin, who was dressed plainly and had always been disparaged as a moocher by Emily, was actually the owner of this club. In an instant, everyone understood. Those who originally still had fantasies about Emily also realized the reality. It turned out that the general manager Tang that they had always envied was nothing more than a parasite that relied on men to support her. No need to make arrangements. I'm just here to inspect. My tone was calm. No joy or anger could be heard. Okay. Please wait for a moment, Mr. Gu. They'll show you the club after I've dealt with the scene. The old boss said with a smile, then turned around. His face instantly turned icy cold, and said to the manager, since Mr. Gu is okay with it, let's keep today's matter official. Call the police. The manager immediately took out his cell phone and dialed the police. Don't. Gu Xiao, you're generous. Spare us this time. Xiao Gu, we know we're wrong. We shouldn't be dojied. Xiao Gu, please, let us go. The people who had been sneering at me just a moment ago were all bending over and apologizing, begging bitterly. They couldn't wait to slap themselves a few times. How could they be so stupid as to offend this person? Xiao Ran's face also became ugly. He originally wanted to rely on Emily to get to the top, but he didn't expect her to be an empty shelf. I looked at the group of ugly people in front of me, and there was not a trace of pity in my heart, only disgust. The police soon came. It's their gang, malicious consumption, suspected of fraud. Take them away. The manager pointed at Xiaoran and Emily and said. After the police understood the situation, they handcuffed Xiaoran and Emily's group. Kevin, you can't do this to me, Emily shouted hoarsely. I love you. I was tricked by that bastard Xiaoran. Love me? That's ridiculous. If I hadn't exposed her today, she would have continued to treat me like an ATM. Right. I looked at Emily coldly and didn't say a word. In order to get the divorce evidence, I also followed to the police station, and the police let me take a statement together.